Thank you to the Blue Bombers for lending us this amazing Canadian flag. Oh, Canada, this is our home and native land, and I think today all of us are patriots. And our team is here to reassure everyone in Manitoba and across the country that we will always be the true North, strong and free. I think a lot of people are thinking about who we are as Manitobans and as Canadians, and we know who we are. We're humble, hardworking people with a blue-collar work ethic. People who take pride in that great flag that is draped behind me, and people who don't go looking for trouble, but people who are also strong. And when a challenge comes our way, know that the way that we overcome difficult things is by working through them together. And so today we're sharing a message of unity here in Manitoba and a sense of resolve and commitment against what President Donald Trump is launching by way of an economic attack on this country that we love so much. We love this country so much because we are free in Canada, every single one of us, to be who we want to be. And our team and every single person across this province will always defend that and will always stand up for that. And the thing is, as humble and as friendly Manitoba as we all want to be, when a fight finds its way to us, we're a nation of hockey players. We know how to handle ourselves. And so we know that when it is time to have a good scrap, Canadians and Manitobans are ready. But our first and foremost responsibility is always to protect our children and our grandchildren and to protect our families. So the response that we're announcing here today has both that pushing back against this aggression from the United States of America, while also standing together, united to defend our families, our way of life, our jobs, and most importantly, our kids. Earlier today, we announced that we are bringing in tax deferrals to protect your jobs. These deferrals on provincially administered taxes like the health and education levy and the retail sales tax will mean that businesses can keep cash on hand to keep people working. These tax deferrals mean that people will have money in their businesses to protect your jobs and keep our economy moving through this period of uncertainty. And so that's about protecting our homes, protecting our families, protecting our way of life. At the same time, we know that we have to push back. And so on behalf of the province of Manitoba, we fully support the federal government's retaliation against the United States of America. And we're joining with other provinces across this country to pull American booze off of liquor mart shelves. Now here's the thing. The good news about this is that the Canadian booze is way better than the American stuff. And so this is one sacrifice that I think everybody from coast to coast to coast can get behind. And I want to mention today that in the coming days, if these tariffs persist, we will continue to roll out additional non-tariff countermeasures to stick up for Manitobans and to stick up for Canada. We all recently watched the Four Nations Cup, and what we saw from Team Canada there sent a very clear message to a lot of American hockey players. We don't start it, but we finish it. Just ask Matthew Tkachuk. And so on behalf of the people of Manitoba, people across Canada, we are standing together to respond to the tariffs that have been brought forward today. And we are here to protect our kids and protect our way of life. And the way that we'll get through this is, of course, by getting through it together. Et puis certainement, comme tout ce qu'on fait dans le Canada, on le fait dans une façon bilingue. Aujourd'hui, nous avons annoncé des appuis pour le monde d'affaires et puis aussi nous avons annulé la présence des produits américains dans les magasins d'alcool ici dans le Manitoba. Alors, sur les questions d'identité nationale, d'identité provinciale, nous sommes unis pour le Canada, pour le Manitoba et pour vous. So happy to take questions that folks in attendance may have. Yeah, it's on the table. We're looking at it, and we're looking at it later this week. We'll have information to share in the coming days.
Why did wine stores say that they've been asked to remove their U.S. products from their shops too? Is that fair to ask them when we've got other retailers selling American goods who already have in stock to remove their wine when other businesses aren't being asked to do likewise?
The great news about us stopping the sale of U.S. booze is that Canadian booze is way better. Crown Royal, great local breweries of all sorts. One of the things we're working on with the other provinces, and just got off a call with the Prime Minister and the other premiers, is that interprovincial trade and direct-to-consumer alcohol, so that our brewers and our distillers will be able to access those other markets. So if you want to go shopping for wine, buy a BC wine, buy a wine from Niagara. And if you want to have whiskey, don't buy bourbon, buy Crown. These are the choices that we can make. The economic choices that we all make are some of the most important decisions that we can all take in our lives. And right now, when we're all feeling this great sense of Canadian pride, when we're all resolving to stand up against this unjustified aggression from the United States President Donald Trump, we're sending that message that we are going to buy Canadian, buy Manitoban, and we're going to fight back by buying local. And so yeah, we reached out and have had some conversations with private wine stores, and they told us we'll pull it off the shelves because we're not going to be able to sell this stuff. And I think we're all seeing that take place in so many retailers, regardless of the sector right now. Manitobans are looking to spend money on Canadian companies and companies that treat Canada fairly. No. Yeah.
In terms of cutting off hydro, the sale of hydro to other jurisdictions, or at least to America, is that an option?
Well, we're going to talk about hydro in the coming days. Well, we're very proud that we've brought a mine to the construction phase within 18 months of taking government. So we know that developing minerals, for everybody who uses a cell phone, for everybody who uses a computer, who participates in our modern economy, critical minerals are part of what powers the economy of today and of tomorrow. And so we've got a great hand to play here as Manitoba and as Canada. When we're talking about nickel, we have a huge nickel mine in northern Manitoba, in Thompson. And our role, our job is to stand up for those steel workers. Our role, when we're talking about steel tariffs affecting Selkirk, is standing up for those steel workers as well. So we're protecting jobs, and we're working with business and labor to ensure that your way of life will stay strong. When we're talking about what happens with those critical minerals, on the call earlier today, I shared an open invitation to my colleagues from the other provinces and territories. This summer, this shipping season out of Churchill, let's use this as a proof of concept to show how we can diversify, reaching international markets. We know that we're doubling the amount of critical minerals in this coming shipping season that'll come out of Churchill, but let's talk about ag products. Let's talk about other mining products. Let's talk about energy products. And let's be serious about Trump-proofing our Canadian economy, including accessing international markets through Tidewater in Churchill.
Monsieur Kinew, peut-être revenir en français
Ouais.
sur votre position pour l'électricité, pour les minéraux. Quelle est votre position par rapport à peut-être couper l'électricité et l'approvisionnement en minéraux vers les États-Unis?
Bien, les questions et l'enjeu de l'électricité avec Hydro, on parlera de ça cette semaine, dans quelques jours. Mais il y a beaucoup de choses que le Canada pourrait faire avec les mines, avec les autres produits, pour accéder des autres pays tout partout dans le monde. Alors pour nous, avec Churchill et puis des autres opportunités, nous sommes là pour promouvoir des autres opportunités économiques pour la province du Manitoba et puis certainement pour regarder à la relation avec les États-Unis en même temps.
Et peut-être revenir sur votre relation avec le gouvernement fédéral et les autres provinces. What's your strategy, what's your approach with other provinces in Canada?
Ben, tout le monde dans l'anglais ou français? En français. OK, alors, tout le monde est un Canadien ou Canadienne, premièrement, aujourd'hui. C'est tous mes collègues en tant que Premier ministre du Manitoba ou quoi que ce soit, les autres provinces et territoires. Nous sommes tous là pour le gouvernement fédéral et pour les peuples dans chaque province et chaque région de ce pays. Alors, oui, nous sommes d'accord. Je pense que demain, nous annoncera des détails sur des ententes au niveau des échanges libres parmi les provinces et territoires. Il y a des autres choses que nous faisons ensemble, comme aujourd'hui, les produits d'alcool. Étaient coordonnés avec les autres provinces. Et alors, il y a beaucoup de choses que nous pourrons faire comme un pays uni. Et ça, c'est la façon que le Canada pourrait être capable de lutter contre ce grand défi lancé par M. Trump.
Merci.
Ouais. Sorry, Tamer. Yeah.
Can you tell us if you support dollar for dollar tariffs? Today, Alberta is telling us the world, and Saskatchewan is telling us two different approaches at this point. This Team Canada approach just seems to have a crater in there. Can you tell us a little bit about that from your perspective? Do you support a dollar for dollar tariff here for the U.S.?
Yeah, we support what the federal government is rolling out for retaliation today, and we're locking arms with the other premiers across the other provinces to remove alcohol from the shelves and to take other non-tariff retaliation measures. We got to stick up for ourselves as Canadians and to push back against this aggression from Donald Trump. And so when we're talking to the other premiers, I know that there's premiers who maybe weren't part of the last round on February 1st who are taking steps today. They'll share that information publicly. I think when we lock arms and when we stand shoulder to shoulder as Canadians, that's how we can stand up against this. There's probably a lot of people feeling uncertainty and feeling a lot of questions about this risk posed to our economy and our way of life. And what I would say is this: when you're in a struggle with a larger adversary, you have to use leverage. And so the leverage that we have as Canadians is our unity. It's looking at those natural resources. It's looking at energy. And it's using all of those tools in a smart fashion, which doesn't necessarily mean using them all on day one. We got to play the long game here as well. Using them in a smart fashion to exert that leverage and overcome this adversity. So first step is unity. First step is showing that we're willing to stick up for ourselves, and then just being able to play those cards in successive rounds to get the outcome that protects your jobs and protects your family. But the premiers are united.
Premier, what interprovincial trade barriers are top priorities?
Well, I'd love to see the direct-to-consumer alcohol come down, and from what I understand, there's an MOU coming. In fact, tomorrow we're going to be putting out a joint statement with the federal government and other provinces on interprovincial trade barriers. So that's just another example of how each day, as long as the tariffs persist, we're going to keep responding in kind, but at the same time, for these steps that make sense to build up our Manitoba economy and build up our Canadian economy, we're going to keep pursuing those things as well too.
Premier, are you banning U.S. company procurement?
We're going to talk about procurement in the coming days. Yeah, we'll definitely have something to announce there.
What do the tariffs, to the extent that we know them right now, how does that impact the provincial GDP outlook and the government revenues as you put together your budget?
Well, we're preparing our budget, and we have been preparing for this scenario. We were hoping it was going to be a contingency plan that we never had to activate. But here we are because of Donald Trump, and so we're going to respond in kind. This will be a serious economic headwind to our province. At the same time, we're going to have to play it out and navigate as we go. We've got projections, we've got modeling, but the reality is that we have not been in a scenario like this before. During previous rounds of tariffs, the economic situation was much different, both in Canada and in the U.S. So we're going to table a strong budget and ensure that we're there to protect your jobs and to protect our economy. We've announced the first steps of measures by way of tax deferrals and taking U.S. booze off the shelves, and there'll be more steps to come in the coming days to protect our way of life here in Manitoba.
Businesses will have to opt into that tax.
Opt in? Yep.
Do they have to? How do they prove that they should be eligible? What's the status?
Well, it's a tax deferral, so these taxes do need to be paid in the future. So again, if companies choose to opt in, this is about them having liquidity, having that cash on hand, having those dollars to keep paying people's paychecks and keep the machinery of their business, so to speak, running. So again, the opt-in is basically open for people who are being affected by these tariffs to participate in this initiative. As we go further, as different contours begin to reveal themselves in terms of the economic impact, we'll be there, as will the federal government, to ensure that there's other supports for workers and businesses. So just a couple of the mechanics, I'm sure, like looking at some of the details here. Announcing this tax deferral today means that it applies to the February tax period. We're going to do this for a 3-month period just to take an initial step, and then we'll revisit it after that.
Is it open to all businesses?
Open to all business. Previously, during the pandemic, there was a cap of $10,000. The target was more to small and medium enterprise at that time. But this situation we're facing now, it's a lot of the large employers that are going to be impacted by the tariff on exports from our province. And so it is going to be open to them as well too. And again, we're trying to keep people working. We're trying to make sure that our economy keeps moving forward in a really strong way. We've had a lot of good economic success stories over the past year and change, and we want to keep that momentum moving forward, even with Donald Trump in the White House rather. So we got to Trump-proof our economy.
By being open to all businesses, I just mean there's no vetting process, there's no application process where they have to prove they're being impacted or anything. It's open.
It's open, yeah. Yeah, it's open.
How do workers feel about this back and forth with the postman? Have you talked to some of them at liquor stores?
Yeah, it's funny. The last time we did this, we were actually right there with the liquor and lotteries folks at Club Regent Casino. In case you're wondering why I was at the casino during working hours, it was for work. Actually, we're doing an announcement there. But my message to the workers at the liquor marts, the distributors, it's thank you. Thank you so much. We know that this has been a 180, and it's because all of us are trying to keep up with what Donald Trump does, and good luck trying to do that, right? But the work that you do on the front lines, the work that you do to send this message to Americans and to their economy, that they have to wake up and look at what their president is doing and call on him to reverse course and remove these tariffs, that's really, really important work. So I know it's perhaps frustrating on a given day when you're stocking shelves and then unstocking shelves. You're putting up posters saying buy Canadian, and you're doing all these really important things. But this is how we work together as Manitobans to send a message to the American people who now need to raise their voices against Donald Trump and get these tariffs removed. Because it's only going to make life more expensive in the States, and it's only going to lead to job losses in the States.
Premier, are you done talking to your counterparts over the border for now?
Oh, no, not at all. I've been reaching out to folks in the States today. Yeah.
And what are you hearing from them? Can you give us a general idea?
What we've been hearing this whole time is everyone loves Canada in the States. Everyone loves doing business with us. They love selling us their exports. They love buying our imports. They can't thank the ag producers in Manitoba enough. And now to everybody in the States who's been saying those messages for the past many months, it's time for you to use your voices and speak up. We have heard from so many allies, I can't thank them enough in the United States of America, but now we need loud allies, not quiet allies. We need people to join us in the fight against Donald Trump's tariffs and to voice what the impacts are going to be on the pork producers in Iowa, what the impact is going to be on the businesses in North Dakota that rely on cross-border shopping, on folks who depend on Canadian energy and Canadian minerals to power the steel mills in Pennsylvania. So there's so many impacts, and most of all the cost of living and the economic impacts are going to be really negative for the United States of America. So for everybody that we've been working with, all my colleagues in the provincial and federal governments across the country that you've been hearing from, folks in the States need to start raising their voices because this is going to impact the U.S. We're ready for a fight. Canadians don't back down. We're a nation of hockey players. We showed that in the Four Nations Cup. Great, great victory. And we're going to use that same sense of Canadian pride and resolve behind our national identity, as well as a sense of unity to get through this challenging period.
Would you reverse these things if he decides once again to pause? Because he said
I'll be watching his speech tonight.
there's a lot of influence and volatility, and
I don't feel any ambivalence at all. I feel total dedication and resolve, and I'm wearing my Canada-Ukraine pin today for a reason. When it comes to questions about who we are as a country and as a province, there is no negotiation. We can negotiate on economic issues all you want, but when it comes to standing with Ukraine, 100%. When it comes to defending who we are, when it comes to standing up for trans people who live here, never will be negotiated. Non-negotiable. We're committed to equality. We're committed to human rights. We're committed to democracy. And so, again, people out there, you feel like you got whiplash trying to keep up with Donald Trump on a given day. Guess what? Donald Trump changed the world. And this is what it is going to be like. But the thing is, we're stronger than that. We are stronger than these challenges because we have unity and because we have a common identity related to our commitment to human rights, democracy, and the way of life that we love here in Canada. And so we're going to get through this period together. We're going to be able to ride this wave. And I want to be totally transparent with people. It's not going to be easy or smooth sailing. This is going to be a period with a lot of ups and downs and surprises along the way. But we will persist. And long after Donald Trump leaves office, we will still be here as Canada, we will still be here as Manitobans, and we'll still be the best nation when it comes to hockey. All right, thanks everybody. Appreciate it. Right on.
Awesome.
Yeah.
We'll wrap that up.
Everybody. Being out here.